Giving up drinking was undoubtedly the greatest life hack that I've ever found in my entire life. And I think so many people out there are scared to let go of, their relationship to alcohol. And I was that person too. I was super scared to let go of drinking because that's all, if that's all you've grown up with knowing to do, then that's what you do and that's who you are. But on the other side of that reality, when I chose to, do something different and not drink socially every single weekend, it unlocked a version of me and a version of my identity and my reality that I didn't even know existed and I couldn't even imagine was this good, truly. And that's what I want to talk about. So, I decided to stop drinking when I was 25 or 26 years old. I was a social drinker, like most people out there who drink. I never went to rehab. I never, had any I didn't drink on the weekdays. It was just Fridays and Saturdays. All my friends drank. It's in Denver, Colorado, and that was my lifestyle. I started drinking since I was like 14, so it was pretty normal in high school. I was actually late, believe it or not, I was late at 14 years old to drink. Maybe I was 14, 15, but anyways, I spent my whole life, socially drinking. That is what I did on the weekends since going to parties and going to college and, growing up in my 20s and going on, dates with my boyfriends and stuff like that. You go get drinks, you hang out. It's just what you do. It's just culturally, it's what we do. So that was my identity. And I think that's really normal for like most people in America. And there is no like shade on any of that. That's pretty standard. Going out to the bars on Friday, going out to the bars on Saturday is pretty much like, it's what you do. And there's nothing wrong with that. What I didn't realize though is how much it defined the access to thoughts that I had compared to what I have now. And now it's been about 6 years since I decided to stop drinking. And it's insane. When I compare the two realities, it's like it's almost impossible to compare. And it's like that's something that I had no perspective on because again, it wasn't like I was somebody who needed to go to rehab. It wasn't like I was somebody who was like getting DUIs and stuff like that. My family has a history of alcoholism. My mom actually passed away from alcoholism, so I was very aware of it. I was in that world, but it wasn't me. I had the contrast to know like, okay, I'm not that bad. But I was aware that I was insecure about how I was with alcohol because I would sometimes drink too much. I would black out. I would binge drink. I would binge on food after I drank. I would say things I didn't want to say. I wouldn't sleep. And it would make me fall off of consistency, like going to the gym or doing projects or doing things with friends or so many things. And I know that to be common because I've had a lot of people talk to me about that being their experience too. And what that did for my personality was because I was in a constant state of recovery, which I know that sounds extreme, but alcohol at the very end of the day is whatever you think about it, whatever your opinions are, culturally, whatever, it is poison. It's ethanol. So the same thing as ultra-processed sugar. Whether you like cake or don't like cake or you like sweets or whatever, you shouldn't have that much of it because it's going to cause your body to get sick because it's poison. Whatever your opinions are about ultra-processed sugar. It's the same thing with alcohol. Objectively speaking, I think we can agree to that. So by drinking alcohol every Friday, every Saturday, I was in this constant state of needing to recover from poison. That's it. It's like when you binge eat, you take a day or two to come out of that and recover. I, as a result, had very anxious thoughts. They're called, for a lot of people, they're called the Sunday scaries, meaning you have anxiety, you are worried about things, you're anxious about going to work on Monday, you need to be around other people who, maybe are hungover too, you can't be alone, you need to get comfort food, watch a movie, hunker down inside, recover, blah, 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 blah. And it can be fun, really, if you're doing it with other people and the time is right, but realistically, if you're doing that every weekend, it sucks. It actually does suck if you really get down to it, because you're sick, you're kind of recovering, you feel off, you didn't get sleep. And what that does to your thoughts, like I said, is it makes you have these anxious thoughts about life, about what's going to happen. And it becomes this obsessive compulsive thought process of anxiety that manifests for everybody differently. You know, for me, I don't even remember exactly what I would be thinking about, but it was anything that was potentially worrisome on my mind would come to my mind on the Sunday after I was, you know, when I was hungover after drinking on Friday night and Saturday night. Inevitably, those thoughts would just pop up on Sunday, and it was very uncomfortable. Because that was the state of being that, like, you know, I was in all the time, that persisted on my Monday and on my Tuesday and on my Wednesday and even on my Thursday, but it wasn't until Thursday that I actually really did feel normal, like Thursday morning. So essentially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday, I was feeling anxious as hell and not myself. When I decided to stop drinking, I decided to cut it out cold turkey. Long story short, I went through a breakup. I actually initiated the breakup, then kind of went back on it, and then he decided he wanted to end it, and we were living together. And at the time, I was dealing with my mom's alcoholism, and she was kind of falling apart, and this breakup really hurt me. I had to move, and I went on a 3-day bender after this breakup. Never done that before. I was aware of what alcoholism looked like because of my mom and my uncle, and it scared the shit out of me because I realized, oh my God, how is it that I'm telling people I love to stop drinking and that everything in their life will get better, and yet I go console myself on a 3-day bender? It wasn't like a night, it was a 3-day bender through alcohol because I was in such pain. And that gave me a ton of clarity of like, I can't be trusted with this. I am, you know, my mother's daughter, and this is not for me. I have to be aware. The weeks, the months, and the years after not drinking were some of the most profound experiences of my life, because I was able to actually think different thoughts that I do believe and I do know now are truly my own thoughts, not anxiety thoughts that are coming from recovering from a substance, albeit sugar or alcohol in this case. What I think I didn't know that I know now is, you know, I think as a human being, as human beings, we are in this kind of battle all the time between the spirit, the soul, and the body. And that's actually kind of a biblical reference. If you read it in the Old Testament, I think it is, there's this kind of like conflict in people, or this, maybe it's a balance, not a conflict, of how do you balance the spirit, which is more or less our connection to God or the universe, however you see that, our soul, which is our connection to our mind and our consciousness and our self, and then our body, which is our connection to our physical body. And they all three matter, and they all three have a specific necessary place in our lives. But with drinking, I didn't know it until when I stopped, but it completely pulled me away from all three of those, the spirit, the soul, and the body, because I wasn't even thinking thoughts that were my own, meaning my reality was a completely different reality than what I have now, and it was very negative by comparison. You know, if you spend weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend basically tying together fun nights, albeit, but like, you know, recovering on Saturday morning and recovering on Sunday morning, and you do that weekend over weekend over weekend, that becomes your life. And that is what you know. I think there's a spider crawling on me. Sorry. That became what I knew, is, you know, that reality. Those thoughts became my reality because I think them so consistently. And it was like, what am I going to do about work? What am I going to do about this? Did I cause a problem at this friendship? Is this person mad at me? Did I screw this up in some kind of way? Blah, 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 blah. And it pulled me away from myself. And when I think we can experience this in a lot of ways, not just drinking. It's an example. Food can do this too. This is why I think so many people in our society today, why I, for example, was very pulled away from myself and from my relationship to God, or to the universe or whatever, is because we are eating dead food, ultra processed foods. So it's this battle of how do we get to the highest point, which is the spirit. Below that is the soul, and then the body. And to get to the spirit, which is essentially our relationship to God, which can be unique to everybody. You don't need, I'm not Christian, by the way. I respect Christianity and religion, but I'm not necessarily Christian. What we all want to do is achieve a connection with God and the universe, something really authentic to us, and it's unique for everybody, right? So if you're Christian or Muslim or whatever you are, like Jewish, you can have a unique relationship, and you should, or if you're not religious, you have it too. And to get there, I feel we need to conquer the body, which means keeping our body healthy and keeping our body on point, so that we can then have access to the soul, which is our mind, our consciousness, which is the thoughts that we think. The reality that we have is defined by the thoughts that we think and our consciousness. So accomplishing the body and the health there, putting good food in our body, not poisoning our body, let's say for me that was drinking alcohol, allowed me to get to the second stage of conquering, at least more so, the soul. And that allowed me to conquer more of my mind and learn to be happy and to think happy thoughts, not just depressing, anxious thoughts. And from there, I achieved this like next layer level that I'm still in all the time. It's not like I've achieved everything and whatever. I'm sharing my experience because it's been profound, but I'm still going. But achieving those bottom two tiers has allowed me to achieve the third tier, which is a connection to God and to the universe and to spirit, essentially. And we are all connected to God and to spirit, regardless of what religion or creed or whatever we follow. We're all interconnected. There is a higher power here. We don't know why the sun is here. We don't know why the earth is here. We didn't make it, so who did? Something of a higher power did, right? And access to that intelligence, let's say, has made me much happier, much calmer, much more fulfilled, more at ease. I attract so much more in my life, like better people that are more aligned to me, really good, deep, positive friendships, a wonderful career, a beautiful living space. I'm healthy. I have a great life. And by comparison to the life that I had before when I was drinking consistently. And I know it sounds like I'm just saying this to say it, but maybe it doesn't sound like, I don't know, but truly, like, I had no idea when I was drinking, just socially, again, like going and having some drinks on a Friday and then a Saturday, like going to the bars, going to the clubs, like I really didn't know how limited my thoughts were and how little access I had to the true thoughts inside of me that, define me and my personality and my character and allow me to have an awesome reality and feel great and look great, and then therefore, accomplish much more things, albeit like that could be making more money if we want to talk about that. That could be looking better and having a better body that I feel more confident in, which therefore attracts a better life experience for me because I'm happier, more confident, which then attracts better friends to me. And that attracts, all around better memories and better life experience overall. It just compounds like that. I had no idea that quitting drinking would unlock all of that for me. And I really do believe that there are these tiered structures. Again, it's the body, which we conquer through what we choose to put in our body, food-wise, alcohol-wise, substance-wise, whatever. We each have our own mechanism of that. Some people can drink, some people can't drink. I cannot drink. Therefore, I cut that out of my life to protect my body's integrity. And my chemicals in my body can therefore work properly to then get me to the second tier, which is the soul. And the soul encompasses our mind, our consciousness, our ability to think. The thoughts we think literally create our realities. It's just how it works. Your perspective is pretty much everything. And if you're constantly recovering from substances that make you sick, you have a pretty shit perspective. That's how I was. So I conquered that second tier, and I'm constantly conquering it. It's never done. But removing alcohol allowed me to conquer it, and therefore I had access to different thoughts, totally different thought patterns, which then over time has given me the opportunity to connect with the spirit, which is God, which is the universe, which is an entirely different level of intelligence and consciousness, which when we begin to have that relationship, we actually tap into, the universal forces around us that really define this reality that we're in. So many things that we don't understand, that I don't understand, that we'll never understand, because we didn't make this earth, right? We didn't make ourselves. We don't know where our mind came from, but our job, I do think, in this reality is to protect those three tiers. And when we do, to our best, our best ability, and it's unique for everybody on how we do it, no one can tell you how to be or what to drink or not to eat or whatever, like that's up to you, it's up to me. But when we do it for sure to our best efforts and we're authentic with that, I believe that we tap into the next level of who we are, and great abundance comes from that. It has to, because you unlocked a key, an intelligence that really not everybody has access to, because we're so buried in all of this crap, in all this food, this ultra processed food. But specifically in this, what I'm talking about today is this social construct of drinking as a pastime, when we don't need that as a pastime. And in fact, it's marketing. It's just marketing. So yeah, that's my thought on this. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about this. At the end of the day, not drinking, like I said, it's the greatest life hack I've ever had in my whole life. My entire reality has changed. So much more abundance in my life in terms of friends and family. I do cool shit. I have fun. I travel all the time. I have so much control over my health. I don't binge eat on food. I have an amazing career. My income literally increased by 7 times when I stopped drinking. Just brought that into my life. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. So let me know your thoughts. I'd be curious to see if you have similar or different ones, if you agree, disagree, if experienced something different or similar. I'm gonna go on a run, but go ahead and like this if you like it. Share it with somebody if you think they need to see it. Subscribe if you're into this kind of stuff. I talk about all things human optimization, exploration, life hacks. Not drinking is the greatest life hack of all time, and at least for me. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.